Another week of Bearkat Sports, another episode of Bearkat Sports Update. I'm Colin Neal, and here is what happened in Sam Houston Bearkat Athletics. Sam Houston Bearkat men's basketball went to Abilene, Texas on February 11th to take on the Abilene Christian Wildcats. The Wildcats were riding a 3-game winning streak, including big victories over the Seattle U Redhawks and the California Baptist Lancers. The Wildcats were looking to make a statement, and they seemed to have control of the game early on as they were up by 9 at one point during the first half. But the Bearkats found some footing as the first half went on. A Lamar Wilkerson three-pointer with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left gave the Bearkats a lead, and the Bearkats did not give the lead back. They kept on going against the Abilene Christian Wildcats and ended up winning 77-62, a monstrous 15-point victory. And a road victory like that, especially with the Western Athletic Conference resume standings coming in full effect for basketball rather, it is a pretty big deal. Quay Grant had 21 points and 5 rebounds with 3 steals. Cameron Hoofner had 15 points and 7 rebounds, still producing very well for the Bearkats. Dante Powers had 14 points along with 3 three-pointers, which has been something that he has been struggling with as of late. So it's a good thing for him to get going. And then finally, your player of the game would be Casey Iziagu, who had 11 points and 8 rebounds, and he's starting to get in form, and that is good for the Sam Houston Bearkat men's basketball team. The Bearkats are now 18-6 and 8-4 in the Western Athletic Conference, with the WAC conference season coming to a close with just a couple of more games left. We're going to stick with the hardwood on this next segment, where we look at Sam Houston Bearkat women's basketball as they faced the Grand Canyon Lady Antelopes this past Thursday on February 9th. And it was a tight ball game that saw 11 ties and 9 lead changes. It was a tight, close battle. It were the Bearkats that were up by 6 to begin the fourth quarter. But it were the Grand Canyon Lady Lopes that came out on top 70-68 after outscoring the Bearkats 22-13 in that fourth quarter. They won it on a last-second layup bucket by Olivia Lane, who had 20 points for Grand Canyon, and that led scoring for both teams. I mean, with the Bearkats shooting 39.7% from the field against the Lopes' 60%, you're not going to win ball games as much, and Sam Houston just seemed to not keep up with Grand Canyon shooting in the fourth quarter. China Allen had 17 points for the Bearkats. Michaela Woods had 14 points and 5 rebounds. Madeline Batista neared another, and I repeat, another double-double with 13 points and 9 rebounds. She also packed on 4 steals. And then Tierney Coleman had 13 points off the bench. Bearkats women's basketball are now 11-11 overall and 7-5. Well, folks, it's that time of year. Diamond sports are back in college, with softball coming in full swing as it started this past weekend. On February 9th, the Sam Houston Bearkat softball team began their season with the beginning of the Bearkat Classic. First off, against the University of Texas of San Antonio Roadrunners on February 9th. It was an interesting ball game as the Bearkats at one point were up 4-2 after a homer by Wasik in the first inning that tied the ball game when the Bearkats were down 1-0. The Roadrunners were able to get a run back, but RBIs from Haley Carter and Trisha Urotsky got the Bearkats up 4-2. Wasik also hit a sacrifice fly in the third inning. The Roadrunners then went on an 8-0 run from the 5th and 7th innings. They were on fire. They could not stop scoring runs. And then going into the bottom of the 10th, the Bearkats seemed hopeless, down 10-4. But if you know about the Bearkats, they are also known as the Cardiac Cats. They will keep fighting. They may not win, but they will keep fighting. And keep fighting that they did. Brody Quinlan hit a 2-run shot over the right field wall to make it a 10-6 ball game. But the Bearkats were down to their final 2 outs. But that did not deteriorate them at all. Trisha Urotsky hit a 2-run shot, a long home run over the right center field wall to make it 10-8. By the way, her first collegiate career home run. Then, with runners at the corners, with 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning, Bearcats down to the last out. Kylie Hobbs stepped up to the plate, and this happened. Then in Game 3 against the Delaware Blue Hens 5 hours later, the Bearcats offense could not supplement anything as they lost to the Jackrabbits 2-0. South Dakota State not only beat the Bearcats, but their pitcher, Tori Kanishi, no-hit them over the course of the ball game. The Bearcats were in threat of getting perfected as they went 3 up and 3 down against Kanishi for 3 straight innings before eventually a walk in the 4th inning would prevent the perfect game from happening. And then on to Game 5, and this was the last game of the Bearkat Classic on February 12th. It was against the Northwestern State Lady Demons, who were coming off of a good win against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. So it was going to be a tough game overall. It was a pitcher's duel all the way through. Emma Giddon, the transfer pitcher from New Mexico, threw a gem. 7 innings of 1-run ball, a complete game for her in softball since for the home team if they were winning, but it was tied 1-1. And the Bearcats were in threat at one point of losing the ball game when Giddon had a bases-loaded jam in the 6th inning. But able to get out of it and have a nice, easy 7th inning, Brody Quinlan stepped up to the plate. Walk-off ended on a walk-off. Congratulations to Brody Quinlan and the Bearcats for getting that victory. They get out of the Bearkat Classic to begin this season 2-3, and still a long season to go, still a lot to work on. But the Bearkat softball team could be a fun team to watch this year. Now we go to the tennis courts. Sam Houston Bearkat Tennis. We're supposed to have 2 matches over this past week, but the one on February 9th against the Tulane Green Wave was postponed due to inclement weather. But they were able to still have 1 match over this past week on February 11th against the South Alabama Jaguars. However, the Bearcats were shut out as they lost to the Jaguars 4-0. They are 2-5 on the season. And to end off this Bearkat Sports Update for this week, Sam Houston Bearkat Bowling went to Dallas, Texas to participate in the Lady Texters Classic. On day 1, they went 5-0, and it was in dominating fashion. And in day 2, they went 3-2. They were stuck at 2nd place with a bit of momentum going their way. And that momentum paid off as they pulled off their biggest victory of the season. They defeated the number 2 bowling team in the country, Vanderbilt Commodores, in day 3 of the Lady Texters Classic to win the Lady Texters Classic, first place out of 8 teams. So congratulations to the Bearkat bowling team. We couldn't be more proud as they won their first event of the season, and they took down a number 2 team in the country. And that'll do it for your Bearkat Sports Update for this week. Be sure you tune in next week to see the next one, as there's still a lot of sports going on. I'm Colin Neal. Thank you for watching. As always, eat 'em up, cats, and have a good rest of your week.